See how this is all looking kind of firmer and more fudge-like than frosting-like. This will crackle a bit when you cut it. Also, I didn't mention, this is going to come at the beginning of the video rather than the end, so you can see, because I know at times when you're making this, if you've never made it before, you're going to be thinking to yourself, no. But it really does come together and work. You don't plate this after, you don't take the whole thing out and put it in a container. It's to be served out of the dish it was baked in. It won't last long, don't worry. It's a baking aftermath. Look at this. There were no dishes in here before I started. That's one cake. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kendra. Today I'm going to make a yum yum cake. I want to show you this vintage recipe here. Not the one behind it, but this one. It says yum yum cake and it has all of the instructions, and I'm going to print these for you on the back. I mean, not on the back. I read what it says on back. So this is written by me when I was very young, probably 16. And some people call it a Texas sheet cake. I call it a yum cake, yum cake, because that's what, you know, they told me it was called. So I'll just go with that, and my apologies to anybody this offends. So I've got already in here 2 cups of granulated sugar and 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And I kind of sifted it together, not really sifted, but shook it together so there were no lumps. I dropped it by cupfuls into this and then shook it over this. Let's see. And then after you do that, I've got on the stove getting ready to boil together a 1/2 cup. Let's take you over here and show you. Now this is on low. It's just a 1/2 cup Crisco, 1 stick of, and I used real butter, 1 cup of water, and 4 tablespoons of cocoa. And I used, let's go over this way, don't get dizzy on me. I used the Dutch kind, Dutch cocoa powder, and I hear that it brings out more chocolatey flavor. By the way, this cake isn't for me, it's for my parents. My mom has been asking for the recipe, so I'm going to give her the recipe. Actually, I got it from her, and she doesn't have it anymore though. And I'm going to take them over a cake. And that's that. I'll get back to the cake now. Okay, so in addition, I left the recipe across the room. I'm going to put baking soda, a couple of beaten eggs, some buttermilk, and a teaspoon of vanilla. What are you fussing about over there? It could be a delivery or the mail person staring at the door and barking. All right, this has come to a boil, so I'm just going to give it a gentle stir here, and then I'm going to just move it to the back of the stove, and it gets added to the cake batter after that's all mixed together and this is cooled down just slightly. All right, now it just says to add to the flour mixture a teaspoon of baking soda. I use that Arm & Hammer stuff. 1/2 cup, yeah, 1/2 cup. I'm sorry, I was looking. 1/2 cup of buttermilk. And I used the, I don't know what kind, the good stuff, like 3%. And then I take my teaspoon of vanilla and I put it in my 2 beaten eggs and I give that a whirl. And then I put that in there like that. Now I'm just going to give it a mix. I'm not going to make you listen to that, because it's loud. As batters go, this is a little bit, you know, for cakes, this is a little bit thicker than most, but you can tell it's already going to be super rich too, with, you know, eggs, buttermilk. You know. So while this is done, I'm going to see if I want to add that stuff I boiled, the chocolate, to this cake. I'll be back. Chocolate is in. I don't know how much of that you saw. I need to mix it. Sounds like a chopper gonna land on the roof. Okay, now look at this. Now this part, and don't be alarmed, it's supposed to be, is a lot runnier. It looks like it's not even gonna bake. It looks like it's too runny. This is the right consistency. It's gonna be okay. Okay, everything's in now. The hot chocolate, or warm, I let it cool down some. Put it in a 9 by 12, 400 degrees, 20 to 30 minutes. While the cake makes, you make the frosting, and that'll be here, and I'll show you that next. But I want to say, growing up, I always made this in a metal. I don't know what it was made of, aluminum or whatever, stainless steel. I'd never used glass. We didn't have it. Glass cake pans didn't become a thing in my life until probably the 80s or later. Anyway, I'm going to put it in this oven, and I lost track already. 20 to 30 minutes. We'll check it at 20 minutes. All right, here we go. We've got 3½ cups of powdered sugar, 6 tablespoons of whole milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, a whole stick of butter melted, 4 tablespoons of Dutch cocoa, 1 cup of pecans, but you could use walnuts if you like, chopped, and 3½ cups of powdered sugar. And that's all going to go on the stovetop, all melted together. All right, here's that cocoa that I brought to a boil, and it's got, butter in it and whatever else I said, milk, I think. Now I have to put all of the powdered sugar in this, 3½ cups, and it goes. Okay, now it says use an electric mixer. If you don't, your frosting will turn out grainy, like frosting should not. So I'm going to get on that and get back to you. Now we add 1 cup of nuts, and they're behind the chocolate. Okay. The frosting is really the easiest part. Now dig this. If you've never made one of these before, you're going to be surprised by what's about to come your way. You just pour this on a hot cake. The frosting's still hot, the cake's still hot, and I think that's what makes it seep in and become such a heavy, rich, I shouldn't say heavy. Well, it is heavy in poundage. I don't mean it, well, a little bit goes a long way, so maybe it is a heavy dessert. I'm sorry. So here it is. It's all done. You just pour the hot frosting that you just boiled on top of the hot cake that just came out of the oven. And as it cools, this frosting will become a little bit stiffer, not a lot, but more in a fudgy kind of stiff. Like it'll crackly a little bit. Does that make sense? If you've never had this and you're a chocolate connoisseur, you would love it. And you don't have to add nuts at all. As a matter of fact, you don't have to add anything on top. If I didn't add nuts, I might put toffee on top. Toffee chips, like butter brickle chips. That would be delicious too. Okay, so that's in the story. If you saw anything you liked, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Right-hand corner up above, there's a bell icon. You take your cursor and click on that, and you'll know whenever I put up a new video. I love to meet new people. If you're not new, thank you for watching. If you watched this far, or even a little bit, and I will see you all tomorrow. I need to go to town and pick up 2 dozen farm fresh eggs.